Hey guys, it's your boy Tacho here, back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes, and today we're going to be taking a look at some builds for the brand new units that we got on the Bridal Beloveds banner. So we're going to be taking a look at Bride Micaiah, Nailah, Rafiel, and Oboro today. And we're going to save the Hinata builds for when the Tempest Trial actually drops, so look forward to that in the future. But for now, we're just going to start things off by taking a look at Micaiah. So Micaiah's base kit, she comes with Joyful Vows, a Sacrifice, Attack and Res Push 4, Mystic Boost 3, and Attack and Res 03. So a very solid base kit, of course, and her duo skill is one of the craziest in the game right now, granting the dominance effect to all your allies within 3 columns, and inflicting defense and res -7 on the foes within 3 columns. And the dominance effect is granting your allies true damage as opposed to an attack bonus like stuff like the Broadleaf fan would do. So dominance is pretty nuts, and this Micaiah is going to be a complete monster for offense. And Sacrifice is a pretty cool option as well for the assist. It costs as much SP as a Dual Rally Plus, so it's nice for scoring, and this Micaiah is the best Micaiah in the game right now when it comes to scoring, because she has the duo skill BST bonus. So she is usable in arena modes if you get her up to +10, and with her weapon being effective against armors, she's just going to destroy everything in her path in arena. So recommended IVs for Micaiah, I mean, you guys already know, we're going to go with plus attack. Any unit that has effective damage is going to enjoy the plus attack IVs, and that's no different for Micaiah. She also has the super boon in attack, so I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to go for that. And for the budget build, we're going to go ahead and give her Iceberg as the special. It's going to do quite a bit of damage, thanks to her res being through the roof. And I am actually going to recommend going for Reposition here over Sacrifice, because she is a flying unit, and Reposition on flyers is just very nice for the utility. But Sacrifice is actually very good if you want to tweak the build a little bit, because you can use Sacrifice to cheat her HP down if she heals one of your allies. And if she gets below 50% HP with Sacrifice, then you can actually start using some crazy combos like Desperation and the Brash Assault Sacred Seal. So that's going to guarantee that she double attacks foes twice in a row, despite having low speed. And I have run the Desperation Brash Assault build on all the other Micaiahs since they do have Sacrifice, and it works like a charm on hers, so feel free to try that out. We're also going to go with the Brazen Attack and Res Sacred Seal here, because it's going to combo with Attack and Res Push, or Sacrifice as well, if you feel like going for that over Reposition. And if you wanted to ditch Mystic Boost, you could go for something like Chill Attack in the B slot, because, of course, the -7 attack on the foes is going to be pretty nuts once she pops that duo skill and starts using the dominance effect. So, pretty cool, and another option you have is to go for the flyer-based movement skills like Guidance and Flyer Formation, so she can just support the team even more and do some jump shenanigans with your allies. And for the high investment build, all we're really going to do here is give her a Sabotage skill in the B slot, preferably either Sabotage Attack or Sabotage Speed, because, of course, the duo skill is already going to do -7 to defense and res. So you're going to want to switch it up and do some different debuffs so you can really maximize the power of your dominance status once you pop the duo skill. And Joint Drive Attack is an option for the C slot passive here, because I mean, Joint Drive Attack is the best way to raise your own attack, and also support the allies if you have it in the C slot. But like we said before, the Flyer-type movement skills all work on her, and especially ground orders as well, like if you wanted to set her up on an Aether Raid's defense team for some reason. Even though she's not going to be able to use her duo skill there, she still has double-type effectiveness and a massive attack stat, and she's a colorless tome unit, so it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world to set her up on a defense team. And if you do that, then Ground Orders is going to be nice for just providing some even more jump shenanigans to your team and making it that much more unpredictable. So this Micaiah is a really awesome unit, one of the best duo units we've got, and she definitely has one of the best duo skills in the game for sure. Alright, next up we're going to be taking a look at the Bride Nailah. Now, I love the artwork on this Nailah. She was one of my favorite characters in Radiant Dawn. So, pretty cool unit here. Her weapon is Bride's Fang, and she's got Moonbow, Swift Sparrow 3, Chill Speed and Defense 2, and Glare in her base kit. So her weapon is very nice. It does -1 special trigger, and then additionally it can give -1 special cooldown count. After combat, if you have a special that would activate before or during combat, like, for example, a Blazing type of special, or one of the damage specials like Moonbow or Ignis or Glacies or any of those. And it also comes with the Wodao effect if she's able to transform at the start of the turn. So this Nailah is going to be a pretty badass nuke unit if you wanted to run her like that for the player phase. And recommended IVs for her, I'm going to have to say either go with plus speed or plus res. She has a super boon in both, and she can actually make very good use of both. So just because it looks like she's going to be an amazing player phase unit, don't actually sleep on her res, because with the super boon and the -5 attack that her weapon can do to the foes, her res is actually going to be pretty nice, and she's going to make for a pretty crazy bait unit. So for the budget build, what we're going to do here is we're just going to go with the classic ramping Blazing special. So Blazing Wind is my preferred special since it hits all of the adjacent foes next to the target opponent. But feel free to use whichever Blazing special you like. They all have a different area of effect, and it's just going to come down to which one you like the most. But when you combo the Blazing specials on this Nailah with the Flashing Blade Sacred Seal, she's going to be able to ramp into them and have them ready at the start of every round of combat. Unless the foe has a guard effect or something like that that can mess with you. But otherwise, she's going to be real solid at spamming these Blazing specials. And of course, the Blazing specials do calculate based off her attack stat, as opposed to any in-combat buffs she may be getting. So Life and Death 3 could be a better option than Swift Sparrow 3 if you wanted. But I mean, Swift Sparrow 3 is a pretty high investment skill, and the fact that she comes with that makes it a little hard to want to part with it. Also, Life and Death does decrease her defenses by a fair bit. So Swift Sparrow is still going to be nice on her. Now, alternatively, in the B slot, instead of going with Desperation, you could go for Hit and Run, which is actually kind of clutch on her, because Glare is going to inflict the gravity effect on the foes after she attacks. So with Hit and Run, you can get out of the way, and then it's going to be way easier for you to either reposition or dance Nailah away from the foes, and they're not going to be able to reach you since Glare is going to hinder their movement. So Hit and Run could be a pretty clutch option. Wrath is also very good, of course, just like it is on the OG Nailah. The double stack with the +10 true damage on Wrath and her weapon is going to be real nasty. And Wrath also does -1 special cooldown count for her once she dips below 75% HP at the start of the turn. So Wrath is for sure going to be another really nice option on her. And of course, anything that raises attack and speed would work fine in the Sacred Seal slot if you don't want to go with Flashing Blade. So stuff like Brazen Attack and Speed or Swift Sparrow are also going to be good options. It's pretty much just pick and choose how you want to run her. And you can use other specials too. You don't necessarily have to use a Blazing special if you don't want to. Feel free to go with something else like maybe Moonbow or Bonfire or something like that if you want. Now for the high investment build, we are going to be abusing Ignis here, and we're going to be running Sturdy Impact in the A slot this time. So Sturdy Impact is going to give her +10 defense, +6 attack, and negate the foe's chance of doing a follow-up. And Ignis is going to enjoy every single one of those effects. So it's going to be raising her bulk, and then you're going to be able to do some massive damage to the foes. And we are running Special Spiral on Nailah. She is going to be one of the best users of Special Spiral in the entire game, with the way her weapon works and the way she can just spam special attacks and really lay down the pain. But if you don't want to go with Ignis, I mean, any 4-hit special is going to work just fine on this build. So Astra and Dragon Fang are other options too. Just go ahead and pick your favorite. I do think Ignis may be the most consistent overall. And finally, we have the bait build for Nailah. Now, I think this is actually my favorite out of all her builds. After the first time you activate Aether in a fight, which shouldn't be too hard. I mean, she's an infantry type unit, so if you have support on her with infantry pulse allies, then it's not going to be that hard for her to start the fight with Aether ready. And once that happens, she is just going to dominate everybody. So the foes are going to hit her, and then she's going to retaliate instantly with Aether. And with the Wrath effect on Bride's Fang, she's going to be doing massive damage while healing a fair chunk of her HP back. And right after combat, she's going to get -3 special cooldown count from Special Spiral and her weapon. So that's going to bring Aether down to a 1-hit cooldown, and as soon as the foe hits her, she's just going to rinse and repeat and keep doing the same thing over and over. So this is a pretty nutty bait build with a ton of damage potential and a ton of sustain with all the healing you're going to be getting. And of course, on any of these bait builds, Pulse Smoke is going to be the go-to C-slot option, so you can have a better matchup against Infantry Pulse teams. And I'm going to recommend Mirror Stance for the Sacred Seal on this one. Being able to raise her attack and her res is going to be very nice, and it's just going to raise her bulk and raise her damage. But of course, you can go with something else in the seal if you want, like Distant Defense is good for that little bit extra res and some nice defense against bows and daggers. Quick Riposte is an option as well, so you can double attack the foes no matter what, even if they have something like Sturdy Impact or have a weapon effect that may negate your follow-up. But I do like this build a lot, and the -5 attack that her weapon can do to the foes is also super clutch here, because it's going to make her res look even better. So Nailah's definitely got a lot of tricks up her sleeve, and I like this unit a lot. Alright, next unit we're going to be taking a look at is the Bride Oboro here. So her base kit is Pledged Blade Plus, Rally Attack and Res Plus, Attack and Defense Form 3, and Odd Pulse Tie 3. Now, unfortunately, I feel like Even Pulse Tie is a little bit better than Odd Pulse Tie, because Odd Pulse Tie is going to kick in on turn 1, and unfortunately that is before the opponents get their turn. So all of those skills that reduce special cooldown count, like Times Pulse and Quicken Pulse and Infantry Pulse and its curtains and all of that stuff, is going to kick in on the opponent's first turn. So, of course, the opponents go after you do, and you're not going to be able to see the effect of Odd Pulse Tie up until turn 3. So, Even Pulse Tie does work out a little bit better here. But Odd Pulse Tie does have its uses on a defense setup, if you want to run a defensive unit with Odd Pulse Tie and make it harder for the opponents to get you with a special attack when they're attacking. And as for the Pledged Blade Plus, it's actually a very strong inheritable sword, because it's going to grant her attack and defense up 4, and a light version of the Breath effect, where she's going to be able to ramp her special cooldown charging when the foes attack her. And recommended IVs for this Oboro, I have to say, either go with plus attack or plus defense. Either one is going to work out just fine, and she has super boons in both, and monstrous stats in both. So it's just a matter of pick your favorite. Whichever one you think is best is going to work out. And for the budget build, we're going to go for the defense refine on her weapon, just so she can have a better matchup in those melee fights. We're not going to worry about her res too much here, because unless you really invest in it, her res is not going to really amount to much. And on a budget build, there's no reason to really focus a lot of investment on res. We're going to be running Noontime here for the bait and heal, and it's going to combo nicely with the breath effect you're getting from Pledged Blade. Also, we're going to go ahead and run the guard skill in the B slot, so we can stop the foes from getting special attacks off on this Oboro. But you do have other options in the B slot, like Dull Close if you want to negate the foe's active buffs, or Quick Riposte if you want to make sure you can get a double attack. And we're going to be running Attack Smoke in the C slot, since it's a pretty easy budget option to get, and the -7 attack on the foes within 2 spaces is going to make her life a lot easier when she's baiting. And for the seal, we're going with Sturdy Stance, but feel free to go with Close Defense as well if you'd prefer to use that. And it does give her a little bit of a res bonus if she's fighting a melee-type dragon opponent. But I would really recommend you try to keep her away from dragons in general, because her res is a real weakness on this particular build, and they're just going to be able to tear right through her. So do be very cautious about that. And for the high investment build, we are actually going to be bumping up her res a bit. So the Barrier Blade Plus with the res refine is capable of giving her plus 11 res. So already she's going to appreciate that a ton, especially since we're going with Distant Counter on this build. Now, unfortunately, since we're running the Barrier Blade, we're going to lose out on that nice breath effect. So we're not going to be able to activate Noontime on the first hit, unless you have Brave Lucina to support her, of course. And I would definitely recommend doing that. Brave Lucina is one of the premier support units for the physical types in the game. We're also going to go with Lull attack and defense in the B slot. And it's going to allow her to tank hits better while dealing some more damage herself. And it's very nice, of course, for her res, since -3 attack on the foes and negating their active attack buffs is going to really help her out. And as always, we're going with Pulse Smoke as the C-slot skill here, so she has a better matchup against Infantry Pulse teams. And Mirror Stance as the Sacred Seal. I just really like these stance skills, since unlike distant defense and close defense, they don't really care if you're fighting a ranged or close type opponent. They're just always going to kick in if the foe initiates. And Null Sea Disrupt is another good option for the B slot if you want to be able to have this Oboro counterattack any staff units with Razzle Dazzle or any Fire Sweep bow units. So all very good stuff. And for the final build on this Oboro, we're going to be going with a more offensive build. So Oboro's stat line is actually basically just a bigger and badder Soleil. So this Oboro is actually pretty cool, and she's definitely got some potential with a whole bunch of different builds that you can run. So we're going with the Slaying Edge Plus and Gale Force here. It is the easiest way to just spam Gale Force and have her get multiple actions in a turn. Attack and Speed Push is nice for raising attack and speed, and the chip damage is nice so she can get into desperation range and then just hit the foes twice in a row and ramp immediately into Gale Force since we've got the Heavy Blade Seal on this build. But if you don't want to run the Heavy Blade Seal, you could also go for Heavy Blade 4 in the A slot, so you get the +5 true damage, and you're also going to get the special ramping. Sturdy Impact is another nice A slot option on her, so it's really just going to be pick and choose how you want to run this Oboro. And instead of Desperation, you could go with Lull attack and speed for the B slot, so she's going to have a much easier time getting double attacks on the foes. But I mean, there's so many different weapon options you can run on this Oboro, like, for example, the Brave Sword Plus or Fire Sweep Sword Plus, and all of those really interesting seasonal weapons too, like Cake Cutter. So just be creative with it, and you're free to run other options for the special as well, like Bonfire is going to be great due to her massive defense, and it's not going to be hard at all for her to get that to activate in one round of combat. So very nice unit here, and there's really no definitive way on how you want to build her. It's really just a matter of which skills you like the most and which combos you like the most. And our final unit of the day is going to be Rafiel. So he is the 4-star demote on the banner, and he's the final Heron that we've had added to the game. So his base kit is Groom's Wing, Sing, Firestorm Dance 2, and Ward Beasts. Now, unfortunately, they did your boy real dirty here, and his base kit doesn't really offer much. But he is a dancer, so he can refresh the turn of his allies, and that is always going to be useful. And his weapon does come with a -1 special cooldown count at the start of turn 1 for any support ally. So he is able to get an infantry pulse type of effect right out of the gates with his weapon, and that is very nice. It also comes with the Wodao effect, which unfortunately his base attack is only 28. So the Wodao effect is going to be very key to this guy if you want him to deal any sort of real damage. And it's going to combo nicely with his insanely good res stat. This guy actually has the highest res in the game when everything is taken into account. And that's going to be our cue to bring up his recommended IVs. So, of course, you're going to want to go for plus res. He has the super boon in res. And with the +3 res that he's also gaining from his weapon, this guy actually has the highest res in the entire game, so that is pretty cool. And he can make great use of that with specials like Iceberg and Glacies to deal some really serious damage to the foes. So for our budget build on Rafiel, we're going to be going with Iceberg as the special. No surprises there. Fury 3 in the A slot, mainly because it's going to raise all of his stats, and that's going to be nice for a dancer like him. But if you just wanted to focus on raising his res, then also Fortress Res 3 is a nice option. Or HP and Res 2, which you can get from a 4-star Canis. T-Adept isn't too bad either, and because he's a blue unit and there's a lot of melee red units, T-Adept could be nice on him. In the B slot, we're going with Wings of Mercy. I mean, every dancer just loves to run this skill. But Escape Route is another option too if you think he's going to take damage from a Bolt Trap or something like that. And we're going old school here because this guy has so much res. He's capable of running the old school ploy skills, like attack ploy, defense ploy. Pretty much just choose your favorites when it comes to these ploys. And there's really not too many opponents that are going to be able to avoid getting ployed by this guy. So really nice stuff there. But he does have other options as well. Being a dancer, you may want to go for one of those C-slot options that can raise attack for an ally, like, for example, attack opening 3 or attack tactic 3 or any of those. And a little more underrated option, we do have access to infantry rush, which you can easily get from a Brady summon. He was demoted, so he's not too hard to get. And infantry rush is going to grant the heavy blade effect to any allies within 2 spaces of Rafiel. So it's a different way to get the special ramping effect on your units, and it could work out pretty decently on this guy. And finally, for the high investment build on Rafiel, we're going to be running a split between all of these HP and res boosting skills. Dancers, of course, are going to enjoy having tons and tons of health, so they can avoid getting hit by Bride Fiorm in Aether Raids. And it also lets them run stuff like Infantry Pulse and Sudden Panic and the Pulse Tie skills a lot easier. So high HP on your dancing units is going to be key. Now, Rafiel doesn't have the best base HP, unfortunately, but it isn't hard at all to raise HP in this game, because HP plus 5 is a really easy skill to get, and every blessing you get in Aether Raids is going to do plus 5 HP, so pretty good stuff. And because of his insanely good res stat, of course the Sabotage skills are going to work out just fine. I like Sabotage Attack on him, since it's going to come into play in basically every matchup. But of course, feel free to run any Sabotage skill. You could go for defense or speed or res. It's not really going to matter too much. So he is going to be a pretty decent option for support. And the one thing that he can do that none of the other dancers can is do that -1 cooldown count from his weapon, as well as the -1 from Infantry Pulse. So if you're running him for an Aether Raids offense setup, then he's going to be really good for providing Gale Force to your Gale Force unit. And because he's a dancer, he's going to be able to refresh the action for them. So he does have some very nice support potential here. But you're probably not going to want to fight with this guy too much, because his attack is really low and his defense is also quite low. So pretty much just keep him in a support role and he's going to do just fine. And that's going to wrap us up for the builds on these Bride units. Really cool units, and they do have a bunch of tricks up their sleeve, particularly Nailah and Oboro, that are very versatile in how you can choose to build them. So I do love units like that have a whole bunch of different build options. And let me know in the comment section down below, guys, which one of these units is actually your favorite and which one of the builds is your favorite to run on them. I'm interested in hearing you guys' opinions on that. So as always, this is your boy Tacho signing out. So take care, guys, and I'll catch you all again in the next one.